Hello, everybody. It is Janine McJanet here, live from my little abode in Hidden Valley in Whitehorse in the Yukon Territory. And I am so super excited today to talk with Carlene, who is going to share so much joy and wonder with the world of trusting your intuition. So I just first of all want to tell you a little bit about myself and what I'm doing here. I've retired from my corporate job and I am just embarking on this beautiful life journey of working with people and working my life's passion in coaching, well-being coaching, speaking, and I have this fantastic little group called the Soul Sister Lounge. So if you're on, say hello. Hello, Francesca. And Jessie, hi. And Carlene is here. I'll bring you on in a second, Carlene. I know I should never touch that because every time I touch this little thing, I lose the picture. So just let me get it back. Oh, it's there. So yes, and I've got this beautiful Soul Sister Lounge group, which I love. And I started to do these live conversations because I thought that it was really important to get conversations out there about the things that really matter. I know there's tons of conversations and podcasts and lives out there about this, but this is something special to me because I started working on myself about 3 or 4 years ago only. I'm a late bloomer and came across adult children. And I am an adult children. I'm an adult child. And that is basically a child who has grown up in a family setting that was dysfunctional. And there's a lot of us out there who have grown up in that kind of a family setting and how it impacts us as we go through our lives, the patterns that we learn, the behaviors that we acquire, and because we have acquired those behaviors and we act them out, and then we teach our children, we teach our friends, and we don't necessarily live the life that we want to live. So by looking at life through the lens of an adult child, I have learned so much about the things that bring us together, the characteristics and the traits. And I've been talking a lot lately about people pleasing, and that is to me really the core of a lot of the problems that we as a society, as a human race have. And so that's not specifically what we'll be talking about today, but we'll be seeing the link between people pleasing and trusting your intuition, and we can talk about that later. But some of the other traits for an adult children are isolation, living in denial, stuffing feelings down, overly responsible for everything, low self-esteem, sense of abandonment, being the victim. There's a laundry list, and it's literally called the laundry list of how we act and what kind of characteristics we have. So hi Marlo, hi Trine. I'm going to bring on Carlene now, and we are going to have a little conversation. I'm going to bring her on. It takes Carlene. Carlene and I went to the Bliss Project in February down in California. And I had the pleasure of meeting so many incredible women, and Carlene was one of them. There you are, Carlene.
Hi.
Hello. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good. I was just letting people know how we met down at the Bliss Project, which is Lori Harder's
Oh,
specialty, and how we connected. And yeah, and here you are. It looks like you're in a beautiful, sunshiny place. How are you doing?
yeah, I'm excellent. I'm having a great day. Yeah,
Yeah,
how are you?
good. So tell us where you're at. Where are you
I'm
living?
at a friend's in their backyard.
In California, right?
In California, sorry, forgot. Yeah, I'm in California, Sacramento.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
So yes, Carlene and I connected online, which really is such a big part of so much healing and growth in my life lately. Is just reaching out and connecting and with women, like-hearted, like-spirited, like-souled women and men who want to talk about the important things that matter in life. And so Carlene and I, out of hundreds of people, sort of honed in on each other intuitively, I think, and we connected
Yeah.
and we met each other. And so it was really great to meet you down there, and we've been in touch ever since. And Carlene, I'm going to just pass it over to you. I would love you to tell people, what you do with your life, around your photography and whatnot, because honestly, some of your pictures are the most amazing pictures I've ever seen. The way that you use art and photography and your own sense of being and sense of intuition. So tell me how it all works. That's a big question, eh?
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's a lot. So yeah, I'm a photographer. I photograph portraits and I do fine art. And um, it's how it all works is I don't, it is intuition, I think. I don't have a definite answer on like, oh, it goes this way or that way. It kind of, I meet people and when they come to me, I feel them out and we get to know each other. And then I kind of, it just evolves into to art and I see them and we, it's intuition.
Mm-hmm.
We just kind of create together.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's, I don't know how to explain the process other than it's just, um,
Well, whatever process you're using,
it's just, yeah,
the results are
yeah,
really
thank you.
incredible, because all of the pictures I've seen of the people that you take pictures of, your portraits, they speak volumes. You know, it's just not a picture of somebody out there in the art. It's a picture of their soul coming through.
There's, right, and it's their story. It's, we sit down, we have conversation and I listen and I hear, but I also, it's a feeling, you know, I see them and I can feel what I can feel what they feel and I want them to see what I see.
Yeah.
So, you know, oftentimes people don't see themselves as how everybody else sees them. They see themselves as, oh, I need this. I need to go fix that. I need to go do this thing. And I see a person, I'm like, no, you don't. You don't need to do that.
Yeah. That's
You are.
incredible.
Yeah.
That touches on the point where, you know, the I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy of
Right.
myself. Yeah. Not
Yeah.
enough. Not enough.
So
So
I
let,
guess photography in a way. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Don't be sorry. I know it's back and
Oh,
forth. I'm just grateful the technology
yeah.
gods work today, because sometimes you never know what happens. Um,
Yeah.
so what is intuition to you? What is intuition? I asked my kids this last night, and I said, "Do you know intuition? What intuition is?" And they're like, "Yeah." And then I heard them quietly going, "Siri, what is intuition?" Because that's where everyone turns to, right? Google.
Right.
And what they had said was, well, Siri said that it was being feeling and understanding what other people are feeling, which is a really generalized kind of definition of it.
Right.
But what does intuition mean to you?
For me, it's like it's an inner knowing of something. Like you just know. Um, and and just knowing that this feels right. It's a feeling of, oh, this feels good or it doesn't feel good,
Mm-hmm.
or this feels like something I should do or I shouldn't.
Yeah.
And it's just like an inside, like not even a voice. It's just a gut feeling of like this feels like whatever. I
Mm-hmm.
should go do that, or I should not go do that, or I should make that, or it's an inner knowing.
Yeah. I like how you just said, I should do this and I should do that. And when I was thinking about what our conversation would be like, I thought about the word should and how many times people use it. And I corrected myself saying, don't say should. You know, you're either going to do it or you're not going to do it. You could do it, you
Right.
would do it. So it's interesting, though, because when I say to myself, I should do that, that's a nudge, right? That's an intuitive nudge
Right.
for
Yeah.
having a look at something, not necessarily meaning going ahead and doing it, but just a little inner nudge that's saying maybe you should be a little bit more aware of where this message is coming from and what it means to you. You know what I mean?
Right. And I think that's the one time we should use should.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So.
As an
Um,
indicator.
yeah, as an indicator, and that's, I think that's what intuition is. It's an indicator. It's a light bulb. It's a the thing that in the back of your mind or in the back of your soul going ding 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 ding. That's go
Mm-hmm.
that way,
Yeah.
or ding ding ding. Don't do that. That's bad.
Yeah. So when you get the
Uh,
ding, 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 and I know that, I mean, you and myself, as well as everyone else in this world, has daily nudges of what we should and what we shouldn't do. And I was talking earlier about the conversations that I've been having over the last few weeks about people pleasing. There's kind of two sides to it. When we get that should call, when we get the ding dong that goes off the light bulb, as Lola says, um, and we can either say, yeah, I'm going to do that or I'm not going to do that. But why are we even questioning what we want to do? Is it to please someone else or is it to please ourselves? Do you know what I mean? The sort of duality
yeah,
of
no,
that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I spent half my life being a people pleaser, especially in relationships. And for the first time in like 4 years, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Um, um,
That's
but
awesome.
I don't know that it's for other, for me. It's not for other people. It's for me. I'm going to do that for me. And if I do that, I'm just going to trust that it's going to be the best outcome, or
Yeah.
I'm going to trust that that's probably not the best thing for me,
Hmm.
because it doesn't. I'm at the point where it, I, whatever happens, I'm not concerned about the other person. Does that make, I mean,
Yeah.
I care for them, I love them, but me is first.
Yeah.
And how that affects me is first. I mean, I care for them. I hope nothing bad happens, but I'm not worried about pleasing them. I'm worried about, does my heart feel content? Does this make
Absolutely.
me happy? And if that's the answer is yes, then that's where I have to go.
Absolutely. And that's what we talked about yesterday when we were chatting, is about the whole idea of awareness. First of all, finding out where that message is coming from and what it means to us. And sort of tucked into that is a little bit of self-love and self-acceptance,
Right.
which is trusting yourself, right? And that kind of
Mm-hmm.
awareness and that kind of confidence in what you believe is right for yourself, disregarding the fact that we think or other people think that we need to do things for them. Just that little piece, I think, is the first step into, going down the path, the intuitive path of like, is this something I am going to do? Because now you've heard that
Right.
light bulb, you've heard the message, kind of thing.
Yeah. And I think another part of intuition is when you ignore it, it just gets louder.
Yeah.
Like the ding, ding, ding. It's like, listen,
Yeah.
you know, and it just gets louder until you're like, okay, I hear you.
Do
Stop.
you have an example of when the ding ding got really loud?
Um, I mean, it happens all the time. Just because I'm like today, right before we got on, I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm nervous. I can't do this. I don't want to do it. And then my intuition's like, get on the phone, do it, sit down, make it happen. Like, stop.
Yeah.
And it's just loud, 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 like you need to do this. Get over it.
Yeah. But you
So
also
that's a small example.
subconsciously, why you want to do it or why you have to do it, right?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
you've done that research, whether or not consciously or unconsciously, that this is where your life's, this is where you want to go
Right.
down. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
funny because I had the
So,
same thing coming out of our conversation. But I don't know what exactly we're going to talk about. But yeah,
yeah.
let's do it, because this is what's important. And so many of us, and I know myself, I mean, most of my life, I stuffed down a lot of feelings, and I stuffed down a lot of those nudges, those intuitive nudges, because I just said, no, that's not right. That's not right. Because I was an absolute people pleaser. So if something came up from like deep down inside of me and said, do something, I say, no, that's not in the cards right now. It's not in my schedule. I've got, I've got the
Right.
family, I've got my job, I got this, and it just doesn't fit in. So that's part of the whole,
It's a what
confidence.
if.
Yeah. It's a what if.
Yeah. And the what if.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what if I do that and this happens? What if I do that? And you got to I found that I'm at the point like, yeah, what if that does happen?
Yeah.
But you did the thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is good, because
Yeah.
we can trust our intuition, but how do we know whether to act on it? And the in between, the bridge that takes us over there, I think, is filled with fears, and
Mm-hmm.
acknowledging those fears and busting through them, and whether or not it's a fear of success or failure, or if I'm good enough or not good enough, we come out, we cross that bridge, we go over the torrents, and we come out just learning a lesson, regardless of
Right.
passing or failing.
Whether it was the thing was good or it was bad, the lesson is that happened and I grew from it.
Yeah.
So, but I think if we take it into art terms and we use art as a metaphor, and there's a lot of times where, like, for example, my art got really started getting better when I used to say, I can't do that. I can never make art like that. I don't know how to do that. And then I looked at myself and I was like, you know exactly how to do that. You're already doing it. Why don't you go do that? You're afraid. Go
Mm-hmm.
do that thing. And then I did it, but it's losing that fear and it's trusting.
Mm-hmm.
It's intuition.
It's following.
It's I have a plan, but the plan changes.
Mm-hmm.
So like with art, right? Like you have a set, like an outline, like this is the way it's going, but you have to be open to that's probably might not go any way that you planned.
Yeah.
But you have to know that and accept that there could possibly be a change, and that change is probably going to be better than what you had planned. And it
Oh,
might not, but then you learn something.
I love that. I
So
love
same
that.
for life, right?
Yeah, exactly. I love that because it is the same for life. You never know from one minute to the next what's going to happen. You can only control what you can control, and that's what your thoughts and
Right.
your reactions and your what you do. You can't control what anyone else is going to do, and that's why there's so much uncertainty. And I think the fear you mentioned, the fear of taking the art to the next step. Did you look into that fear and say, well, what is this fear about?
Um, at the time, no, because I was a lot younger and I just didn't believe in myself really.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was a more, I don't think I now in retrospect look back at it, but at the time it was more of just, I realized, hey, you know exactly how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are you afraid? And I think the afraid was like, why are you afraid? And then it was like, well, that's stupid. Go.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, I don't think I wasn't very aware of myself at that point. So it wasn't really like I didn't think about it. I just was like, hey, you need to go do that. Go
yeah,
sit next, go make art. Like,
yeah.
go do it.
Because otherwise we
So,
sit and we suffer. We sit and we suffer in the what ifs,
yeah,
and it's only when we surrender to doing it with the
right.
fear on our shoulder and taking that jump that we can go, oh, it wasn't that bad. Like I've known
Right.
for so many years that sitting on the other side and just wishing and hoping and dreaming that maybe one day things will get better and maybe things will change. Just wait, just wait. It does sweet F all
And you're
for you.
waiting. Yeah. And you're waiting.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I had a thought and I forgot it because I forgot. Oh, well, okay.
It'll
I'll come
come,
back.
it'll come. But we were talking awareness, right? And how that
Yeah.
is fundamental in our journey of not just hearing our intuition, because we can hear it and we go, yeah,
Right.
oh, that's a should, yeah, what if, whatever. And then it becomes listening to it and you start to pay attention to it going, what the heck does this mean? Why am I keep on getting
Hmm.
these nudges and these messages? And then when we trust it, and it's between the listening and the trusting that we just start to grab hold of our own, right?
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. And the magic happens. Like
Yeah.
all of a sudden things start to unfold and people come in and, oh, that person has exactly what I needed. And, like in terms of connection or whatever, they like as soon as you let go and you're open to the world of surrender
Yeah.
and just letting be, crazy things start happening. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think of one of your images that you put out, and Carlene will share your Facebook link at the end so that you can have a look at some of her work. But one of the most striking ones was a woman that was a girl that was dirtied up in the ground,
Mm.
that had her limbs and her hair all messy and one to one. Can you explain that? I know it's really difficult without a picture, but can you explain how that happened and how intuition kind of played a role in?
Um, yeah. So that piece was I had an idea. So I had this idea, which I'm still working on. The main piece, the one that you're talking about, came out of that. It wasn't planned.
Mm-hmm.
Of creating,
Plans change.
yeah, yeah, of creating a piece of a body in the fetal position inside of a seed underground, and the roots to a tree are holding it, and the tree is when you see it, it's a tree under. You see the whole tree, and then you can also see under. It's hard to explain. It's not even created yet. You can see the roots wrapping around the seed with a body inside, kind of like a realistic version of the tree of life
Mm-hmm.
with a body inside the seed. So the circle of life. And out of that, we were working on that. And then I called my friend. I said, hey, do you mind getting in the dirt? Um, you're going to get dirty. Can we do that? And she said, yeah, let's do it. And so out of that came what you're talking about was other images that just I had this one set, but then once that was done, it was like, okay, let's keep going. There's good stuff here. Like, whatever happens, let's just keep shooting. And so he kept shooting, and out of that came the piece you're talking about. And then even further out of that, we were almost done. I said, okay, let's wrap it up. And she moved her hands a certain way. And I said, stop, 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 don't move. That's perfect. I need that. And it's a picture of her hands, which ultimately looked like the roots to a tree.
Yeah.
And that's actually one of my favorite pieces right now.
Beautiful.
So that's how intuition played. It's,
yeah.
oh, I need that.
Yeah.
I see that.
Just right now. This is happening for you.
Yeah, it's being, I think it's being present in the now, and you're not, and I think that's part of intuition as well.
Right.
And with art and life is you're not stuck in the thoughts, you just do. Like when you get the feeling of it, you're like, I need to just do this, and you don't really have a thought, you just do it. And then it's almost like, oh, I did that thing, I don't even know why I did that, but it worked out. Or you know,
because if you don't do the things, then they're going to just stay stuck, and you'll stay stuck in wonderment.
Yeah, stagnant.
Hey?
Yeah.
I like that.
And then oftentimes when I don't listen, I'm always like, why didn't I do the thing? I should have listened to myself. I was right. I should have done that thing.
The shouldas come back and
not
whack
done
you.
that thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Once Marlo, and she was on the call, I'm not sure if she still is, but she's my business coach. She was last year, and I was talking to her about something that was just heavy on my heart, and it was for a long time, and it was a relationship. And she said to me, man, Janine, intuition is hitting you over the head with a 2x4. You got to listen. And it was. And I really take that metaphor a lot now. And I'm going, this one's starting to creep up. You know, it's not just that little sort of sense inside of your tummy or your soul. It's starting to grow and grow. And, you know, it got to a point where I was losing sleep and being restless because I wasn't paying attention to what I needed to do, to say, and to be, to order to move forward and jump over that. So I did it. And once I did, I was free, and I put in my resignation. This was part of my job, leaving my job and starting to do the work that I love. So you got to listen. I think it's just imperative. And it might not necessarily lead to action because we have to weigh things, right? We can't do every single thing that we think we ought to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
We just have to.
Yeah. And
go ahead.
Oh, and I don't want to say like, oh, trust your gut, everything's gonna work out fine. No, half the time it doesn't. Yeah. But then you find out the reason why that happened later.
Yeah.
You know, like even if it didn't work out, you find out. You know, like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done that, but I learned the thing that I needed to learn, and now I'm gonna go this way.
And yep. Sorry.
Oh, I was done. Go ahead.
We'll blame it on the time delay, even though there isn't one.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting that you said that, and I can't now. I just distracted my own self. Look, I'm all over the place here. But yeah, it'll come back to. We got one each now.
Yeah.
But what you talked about before. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
What we talked about before was, you know, this idea of having ideas and what to do with them. And just recently I learned I do journaling. I'm not a daily journaler, but I love to write. I love to create poems. I love to create images with words. And one of the things that I learned is that these ideas that we get, sometimes continuously, sometimes, you know, throughout the night, sometimes when we wake up in the morning, they can so often fleetingly just disappear if we don't pay attention to them, is to have a little journal with you. And you can call it whatever you want to. You could call it an intuitive journal. You can call it a nudge pad, whatever you want to, just for those things, to get them off your mind, because those are important pieces talking to you. And what I'd forgotten to say before was that we have to take them and look at it and balance. And the experience that we had from failures before will help us to determine whether or not this is a good way to go and what we would have to change to get to the place where we want to go. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. And oftentimes I find those failures are the very things that get us to where we need to be. Like if you hadn't failed, you wouldn't have learned how to not fail. I know that's dumb, but not fail, but from failing you learn so much about yourself. and you grow. And so I think it's you have to do that. Like that has to happen. So
In order, yeah,
in order to grow.
yeah,
Yeah. And you have to be okay with that.
yeah,
I think that's the difference. When people fail, they stop.
yeah.
The people that succeed didn't stop.
No,
They said, okay, that didn't work. Now I'm going to do this thing.
yeah.
And now I know that, you know.
A good example of that is WD-40. Do you know why they call it
Yeah.
WD-40?
No.
Because they tried it once and it didn't work, and they tried it twice and it didn't work, and they tried it 40 times and it eventually worked. So you have
So
to.
there we go. Yeah.
You have to keep going. And we were talking about before where it went from the hearing to the listening to the trusting
Mhm.
and then to the taking action. And it's a circle in itself because it goes round and round
Mhm.
continuously, and you come in at any of those sort of parts, and the awareness, I call it the A of the ABCs, the awareness that takes you to do that, and the mindfulness, like you just talked about, is so important when we're trying to grow and move forward.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna do that too.
And it brings confidence, right? It brings confidence, and it's the experience that we had from the experiences that we've had, if that makes any sense. The knowledge that we
Mhm.
take forward with us that will allow our bank, our little journal of ideas, to grow, and so that we can select the ones that we really feel that we need to take on to move in the direction that we want to go. It's hard work.
No, it's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. Um, yeah. Um, yeah. Sorry, I'm like really trying to get. I can hear myself talking. I'm like, it's so weird. So I'm trying to get used to it.
Oh, have you got
Like
it?
hear my own self.
You've got an
I
echo.
got earbuds in.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but it's okay. I'll be fine. So if I'm acting weird, it's because I'm like, I'm trying to. Anyways.
Try and take them out to see if try and take them out to see if they're going to make a difference. So yes, we talked about
No,
self-love.
I'll just keep them.
Got them
Yeah.
in finding our intuition and moving with it, and trusting that intuition. We talked about self-love. We talked about acceptance. We talked about serving ourselves rather than trying to serve other people, and we talked about
Hmm.
confidence, and awareness. And one of the biggest parts, I think, of this whole trusting your intuition piece is vulnerability. And
Hmm.
although we haven't touched on that directly, that plays, I know for both of us, a huge role in being able to follow and trust and act on our intuition. What can you tell me about vulnerability and making decisions in what you do?
Um, Vulnerability is one of my favorite things. As much as it's my least favorite thing, it's like only because it's. I'll just use photography. Most people do not want to be photographed. It's a very terrifying experience. Just because, what if I'm too this, or I need to lose 10 pounds. I need to get a facelift. You don't need to do all that. But the fear of I'm not going to look good and I have to be perfect that media is
Mm.
put on everyone, right? Um, but when we allow ourselves to be in the space and to be photographed and to be seen, it's a huge vulnerability. Yeah, well, sorry. Vulnerability can also be, you can use that is to be empowered through it. I think when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable and to be seen and to let go, great things happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrifying and it's not the most easy, but once you do it, there's like a switch that happens. Well, I see in people when I photograph them, and I do a lot of boudoir, so that's getting
Mm-hmm.
photographed without your clothes on, so
Mm-hmm.
that's even more seen, right? But what I find is when women come to me, it's something they want to do, but they're terrified, but it's a wanting to do it. And then as soon as they allow themselves to be in the space of I'm in a safe place, I'm going to be seen, and this is something that I want to do. Um, there's a switch that happens, and it goes from being timid and afraid to I own this, I am me, and I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they leave with that.
Empowering, hey?
And to have that on film is even more powerful. So, yeah, and I think vulnerability plays in every day. For example, I'm going to use getting on here. I didn't want to do that. I have to be vulnerable. I'm going to be seen. Do it. You need to do that. You're going to grow.
Yeah.
And you're going to probably mess up, but that's fine.
Well,
Do it.
you've just described, like in terms of your clients that come in for boudoir photography and what you just went through this morning, you just described the whole process of trusting and
Hmm.
acting on your intuition. Even the women that come there, they get a nudge from somewhere going, this is something I really want to do, but they're scared shitless about doing it. And then once they
Hmm.
come in, they start to loosen up. They start to go, this is okay. This is what I want and I need to do. Just like you and just like me and very many other parts of my life where I was like, I can't do it. I'm not good enough. I'm afraid. What happened? What if, what if, what if? It's,
Hmm.
for me, the work I've been doing in the last couple of years, and it would not have happened if I didn't allow vulnerability to play the role that it has. And that involved going back into some deep fears from my youth as an adult child and looking at some of the events that happened that I have stuffed down for years and years and years, and bringing them out and, you know, finding the group of support that's necessary to connect with and share these stories and share these events so that it would help heal me. And like
Hmm.
yourself and like your clients, by coming out and being vulnerable, we don't only help ourselves heal, but we help other people heal without
Hmm.
even knowing it. So there's this kind of circle and a circle of service of life all in one that helps us and helps other people just by, you know, not giving a shit about the small stuff and
Hmm.
bringing out what is important in life. You know, none of those small talk conversations, like what really is important, and
Hmm.
talking about that.
Well, and it's also super empowering when you see somebody else like laying it all out and saying, "This is me. Look at me."
Hmm.
You're kind of like, dude, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not just talking about in photography, I'm talking about in life. Like last night I went to a burlesque show. I'm talking a lot about women taking their clothes off. Um, went to a burlesque show, but I didn't go to see that. It's empowering to see somebody do something that I can't do, that I wouldn't want to do. Or maybe I have a desire to do it, but to see somebody else do it makes me want to do it even more.
Okay.
Or maybe the thought that I could do that because she did that. It's when you see someone being vulnerable, it's you're like, oh yeah, let's do this. It's an empowering thing.
And it gives you hope.
And so
It gives you
yeah,
hope.
and exactly,
Jessie online, she says it's showing up even when you are terrified, right?
exactly,
And I love
yeah,
what you just said. You went to the burlesque show last night, and it's something that, you know, you thought you might want to do. Maybe you should do it. Maybe you could do. Maybe you do want to do it. So that might be a little nudge in itself of your intuition telling you that, hey, this is
right.
something that I want to do. What do you think?
I don't think I mean, I don't know that I would do that. I like to think that I might have the guts to do that one day. I can barely speak in front of four people. So we'll work on that for now.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's
um,
good. So yeah, vulnerability, strong role, and how it connects us to being honest, being open, and not with other people, but with ourselves. And
with ourselves, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, when you do something where you've allowed yourself to be vulnerable, it after you do it, nothing else matters. It doesn't matter who saw you. It doesn't matter if anybody saw you. You allowed yourself to be free and be in the moment and live and just be. And that's a quite exciting place to be when you
yeah.
can be there.
You give yourself permission to be free.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
There's. I can't say
yeah.
enough about giving yourself permission to be free and do your things, because for so long, and I have to hark back, because for so long I kept myself in this little bubble, and I had all the masks that came up with everything, but I hid my true self. And I'm starting to
Hmm.
break. The light's coming through. I'm seeing the light, and it's coming to shine through. But holding back and stuffing things down, and not allowing yourself to be free is one of the most profound transformations that I've come across in my entire life.
And you're describing that. And I'm like, God, it's painful to be in that.
Yeah.
When you're not free, when you're shoving that stuff down and you're not listening to yourself and you're in a state of, I'm not happy, but you keep doing it because you're afraid to be seen, really. And and then once you break through, you're just like, come on, wake up. Like, you want to tell everybody else, like, come with me, come on this journey, like, wake up, let's go.
Yeah.
It's so exciting over here. Come on.
But that's a decision that has to be made by every single individual in here. And like I was saying earlier, we can lead by demonstration, and we can, be vulnerable, and we can help others heal by showing them how we've healed ourselves, which is an incredible process in itself. And the whole sort of concept from going from struggle to strengths. And that's just like, taking those things that hurt you and learning the lessons from them, and then coming out at the other end and saying, I can do it. If I can do it, like, anyone can do it, right? It's just a matter of.
Yeah. And I also think our society today with, I think that all of those things, those masks, it has to do with Instagram. It has to do with the celebrities that are everywhere flaunting that you have to be perfect. You have to have this body. You have to have the fake lips. You have to have the fake ass, the fake boobs, all of this stuff. It's all stuff, and it's not even who you are. And I think that's a part of all these masks that people are putting on and don't want to be seen, is because they're looking at fake. It's all fake. Even the photos they're posting are fake, I think that all ties into being seen and what we've been talking about, and putting those masks on and not. I kind of lost my train of thought. Sorry.
That's okay. It's about, covering yourself up and putting yourself out there, not trusting who you want to be, but trying to be who other people want you to be.
Right. And that ties into vulnerability and intuition. And I don't think people who are covering up are really being themselves. I think they're being an idea of themselves, of what they think other people want them to be. Right. So people pleasing.
And we all know that people pleasing really sucks. It's bullshit. It destroys so many people. And I'm so sick of talking to women, especially, who are just so busy and so tired and so exhausted because they don't have time to, accept themselves, to love themselves, to do things for themselves, because they're always on somebody else's agenda. It can get me really riled up on this, because I wasted so much of my energy and my life trying to make sure that other people were happy. But guess what? They weren't even happy. I thought that by me being and showing up, doing different things would make them happy. A perfect example is hosting a party, spending days beforehand just coordinating it and getting things together and making sure the place is clean and tidy, rah, 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 rah. Getting all this anxiety, which is a really important part of this, what if piece. And then having people come over, you're still up on edge. Whoa, and everything. Then it's finished, and then there's a mess. And where was the joy? Where was the actual joy that myself had? I can remember a few nights like that. Everyone else is having fun. And here's, Miss Hostess with the mostess, who's just won't stop. So I've really learned to let go. And that's part of, giving myself permission to be free, is not to bother. People don't really give a shit if their house is clean, or if your car is clean, or anything. That was a big
they're so
release.
wrapped up in with what they're doing and they're not doing, and what they should and shouldn't do, and
It's great.
Yeah.
So mentioned earlier, the ABCs is something is just I've coined. ABC 1, 2, 3. It's easy, eh? Just like Michael Jackson used to say. A for awareness. That to me is the absolute key in moving forward with anything. In moving forward with trusting your intuition, in being vulnerable, and being confident, and being courageous. Just paying attention to what is going on inside of your body, like finding out what those triggers and those patterns are. Patterns are a really big piece, I think, of trusting your intuition, because we talked about, failing from experiences or succeeding from experiences. And those are the patterns that we have to keep looking at. And that's what cognitively is that, how do you say that?
I
Cognitively?
can't say that word, so I'll leave it to you.
That's what we think about.
Cognitively?
Yeah,
Cognitively.
awesome. That's what we think about, is those patterns. So when we go to make a decision to do something, all we can rely on our experiences and the patterns that we've had in the past. So a lot of the work I'm doing on myself right now and, my family is breaking cycles of patterns, and people pleasing is only just one of them, but breaking these
Mm-hmm.
cycles that do not serve us any good, so that we can come out and, be and do who we want to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the B, ABC, so that's awareness. B to me is setting yourself up so that you can succeed. And one of the biggest ways that I see that people don't succeed in their lives is because they don't set boundaries for themselves or for
Mm-hmm.
other people, right? They just sort of
Mm-hmm.
go in and go on and go around. So setting boundaries, setting healthy boundaries. What do you have to say about
Yes.
that?
That's something I've been talking to with a friend a lot lately too. And I came to a realization that I think a lot of people take boundaries as it's a scary thing. It means you have to be there. Like if I set boundaries, that means you can't come through the wall, or you can't be close to me, or you can't do that. And so I started saying, let's call them guidelines.
Ah,
Guidelines for how you get to be treated, right? Because she doesn't, I just feel like she doesn't like that word.
mm-hmm,
And a
perfect.
lot of people don't. But I do. If you pull it back to guidelines, this is the guidelines on you get to be my friend. These are the guidelines to how you get to be my boyfriend. These are the guidelines on how you're going to interact in my life, right? And if you can't follow the guidelines, sorry, you don't get in.
Mm-hmm.
So, but boundaries, they have to be set. I used to have no boundaries, and it ended in a lot of toxic relationships, just romantically, friendships, all kinds. I got walked on all the time. And then as I got to know myself and as I got to love myself, those walls started getting built up. Like, no, that's not okay. You
Yeah.
don't get to come in.
Mm-hmm.
You're no longer allowed here. But I think boundaries is so interesting just because I think a lot, like I said, a lot of people are just terrified of if I put the walls up, people are going to disappear.
Mm-hmm.
But what the thing is, the right people will
Yeah.
disappear and the right people are going to come in.
Yeah.
So
Well said.
it's up to you. If you don't build those things, um, you got to have the guidelines.
Yeah.
It's like you can't build something without the I
The
don't build stuff.
structure.
So what
Yeah.
is it called? A manual?
Yeah. Instructions.
It's a manual for how I get treated, right? I can't build, but I can, yeah. It's instructions for my life, for what I'm allowing and not allowing. And if you can't follow those, then
Yeah.
sorry,
That's
you don't
great.
get to play.
That's good. And what you just said about building, if you don't build it up, people will walk all over you, right?
Hmm.
And it's
Yeah,
changing. Just like the plans, we talked about the plans and life changing, boundaries can change
yeah,
as we grow and as we move around.
right. And as you connect more with somebody, maybe those boundaries, like you said, they change, they come down, or like this is where and we change, our own selves change, which means our
Yeah.
boundaries are going to
Yeah.
change. Things are going to morph, and if they don't, then I don't, I I think a it's a disaster
Yeah.
for the inside of somebody.
Yeah.
It turns into really craziness and being walked on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's soul sucking
Yeah.
if you don't have them. So,
Some friends, and I like the way that you put that into, people will come and people will go, and that's okay. We have this, I think, innate fear as human beings that people that we grew up with and we've known for a long time have to be in our life forever and ever. But we
right.
change. We don't change at the same rate as
Hmm.
other people change. And there's different friends in our lives for different reasons. So you can't certainly not expect, one person to meet all of your needs or vice versa, which is why it's ultimately up to us to reach out and connect with people where we feel that we need a connection to take place in whatever
Right.
kind of realm in our soul needs to be filled. Now, where I was going with this was somewhere.
Intuition.
Yeah,
So, like again, when the right person is coming into your life, whether that's a friendship, a mentorship, a relationship, whatever. Like in your gut, And whether you listen to that is up to you. But I think I like, for instance, when like when we were at Bliss, I was like, I have to know this lady. I don't know why, but I have to. I'm terrified to go say hi, but I'm going to do it. And look what happens. You know,
Oh,
that's like a gut thing. I think you just, yeah, I don't know where I was going either. I was trying to take over for you, but
no, it's good. Well,
um,
it's about
yeah,
trusting your intuition. You just said that too.
yeah,
It is. This is
yeah,
how we met.
it is.
I put myself out there vulnerably in the Bliss Facebook group with 500 plus women, I think, and I just did a little video. Scared to do it, but I wanted to connect with these people. I want to grow my tribe around me of people that
Hmm.
feel and talk about the good things. And there you came, like you popped up like a little flower.
I said, hey, I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm coming.
yeah. So that's it.
um,
If I wouldn't
yeah,
have done, if I wouldn't have acted on my intuition to do that, and if you wouldn't have acted on your intuition to do that, there'd be a lot less in the world because we don't know each other, because you don't know,
right,
your partners or your relationships aren't as fulfilled. So there's living in fear and there's not living in fear. And living in fear sucks completely because it takes us to the what if stage and we start to end up
right,
living in anxiety, which is not a good place to
exactly.
live, right?
Right, but I think we do need fear. And I've always thought to myself, and I've always told myself, like, fear is a good thing. Fear, we need to have fear. Um, but let fear guide you,
Mm-hmm.
not debilitate you,
Yeah.
right? So let
Mm.
fear be the thing that pushes you to go, like, to continue to to elevate, continue to push your art, whatever you do, continue to, like, to go. But when you let it debilitate you to where you're not doing and you're not growing and you're not being, that's where fear is not
Yeah.
okay, because you can't
Oh,
get rid of it. It's just there. It's
I
always
love
going to
that.
be there. You might as well make friends with it, right?
Yeah.
Like, get
I
down with
love
the
that.
fear, and if you don't, then well, we're stuck in that anxiety and that sad
Yeah.
life, right?
Yeah. Love that. I love it. Make friends with your fear and also make friends with your intuitive nudges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Take them on
because
board and
it's free.
hold them by the hand and say, hey, what are you about? What are you trying to tell me?
Yeah,
Can we have a little conversation here? And that's why recording your ideas and exploring them and being curious, that's a really important part of life that I never really thought.
yeah.
Just be curious. What does that mean? You know?
Explore, and when you're curious, you kind of go do things. There is, I find that there's really no fear in curiosity.
Yeah.
Like when you're curious about something, you just, oh, I want to know that, and you don't think about it. You just go do it.
That's how we came out
Which
into the
maybe we should
world.
apply that to life, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. That's how we came out as little
So,
children, just curious,
yeah.
everywhere, just grabbing. My daughter wrote something on a piece of paper when she was probably about 3 years old. She stenciled a picture of a rhinoceros and a giraffe. And then she wrote, I want to know. That's all she wrote. I've got it hung up in our bathroom, right? Because it means volumes. We all want to know. But what
Yeah.
happens is as we grow up and we grow through our teens and 20s and start to, build up these masks of who we think we ought to be and who we think other people think we ought to be, we lose that
Right.
curiosity. And honestly, getting the fishing rod back and pulling that curiosity back into every aspect of life, curious, even if you're like, say, in an argument with somebody that you really love or you're in a disagreement, be curious about why you're in a disagreement. Everyone's got different values, everyone's got different standards, and why is this happening? Then when you start to be curious and you're aware about that, then you start to go, oh, this is great. It's growing, it's learning, and it's loving. And I think
Yeah.
love, boom, is the center of everything that we've talked about today, because love ourselves, love other people, love what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I was gonna just tie in that I think curiosity is what artists play with every
Mm-hmm.
day. I think it's the curiosity of, oh, what if I do this? What happens when I do that? What if I did this? What if I photograph that person? What's gonna happen if I do this? And even post processing, it's an intuition and curiosity together. And I think that's where art lies in the middle of that. I think a
Oh,
little bit,
yeah.
like because it's a inner knowing, but also an inner questioning at the same time of what happens when I do this, or what happens if I if I make this girl look like she's drowning, is someone going to freak out? How are they going to respond to that? Oh, let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's figure out what that person's going to, why is that person freaking out? What's
Yeah.
going on, you know? So I think, so it's just with photography, but even I think I have other art friends, and I think it's always pushing the line of, um, of thought and question, which is curiosity.
Yeah. But it does, like we talked earlier about it, it's not, it's art and it's life, and life is art. And that's
Yeah.
the beautiful link between
Right.
what you're doing, because
Yeah.
all the what ifs can be, I am going to do this. I'm going to do that. It's not a what if for
And,
you know?
yeah. Well, and that's just, I was giggling because I'm like, when you just change the language of I should or I am, or just from what if to I am,
I'm going to.
things start changing.
Yeah.
And things start happening.
Language is a big part of it. Language in here,
Yeah.
hey? Language everywhere is just like, get rid of the stuff, the words that and they're patterns again, right? They're habits.
Mm-hmm.
And just get rid of the things that don't serve you well. Like, yeah, I'm going to do that in the people pleasing mode. Yes, 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 yes. Or I should, or what if? All of those uncertainties, if you just start changing them, wow, it's going to make a difference. You're going to have that clarity to move forward, knowing what you want to do, rather than sitting in complacency, which I'm guilty of doing for, a lot of years.
Like we're all guilty.
Yeah,
right?
a lot of us. Well, dang, I would I love to keep talking to you, but we got to wrap up soon. And
Okay.
I would love you just to share like one big golden nugget that you might have about trusting your intuition with the folks out here.
A golden nugget. I think when we start trusting your inner knowing and your inner self and being who you are, you open yourself up to the world of a playground, and really cool things start happening, and people start coming. The right people start coming. Mm-hmm. And it can be a beautiful thing, and it's something I'm just started exploring in the last couple of years. And it's I don't know, even with art, it's I don't know how to say, because it's just something I do. I do it. Mm-hmm. So it's like hard to say how I do that, but and I'm not saying, oh, trust your intuition and all your dreams are going to come true, right? It's just kind of go with the flow of life, and things start coming, mm-hmm. and things unfold, and don't hold on to an idea of this is the way it's supposed to be, because it's oftentimes that's what you need is coming when you let go.
Yeah. I love it. And tying into that is just letting go of your fear and surrendering mm-hmm. it, so that you can give yourself permission to be free, to be yourself, right. To be your true self, and to speak your truth.
Yeah. And make friends with that fear.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
Make friends with all those thoughts, the moods, the feelings, and the emotions, because really we only have one life. We don't know when our last breath is going to be. And it's our choice, ultimately. It's our choice of what we do, what we say, where we go. It's never too late. That's my little motto, is it's just never too late to make a change. So reach out and connect mm-hmm. and learn. My 4 L's, live, love, laugh, and learn, are encapsulated daily into what I do as much as I can, because we just never know when our last breath will be. Belinda here says, Belinda says, roses open, waters flow, find your gift, simplicity happens. That's lovely. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yes. So before we wrap up, my dear, where can people find you? And we will put links in afterwards for your page and whatnot. So. Okay.
I'm on Instagram, Carlene Imagery, or at Carlene Imagery. I'm on Facebook, Carlene Imagery, or at my website, carleneimagery.com. Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at all the time.
And I would recommend everyone go and check out some of Carlene's photographs, because they will stick with you. They will stay in your mind, and they will give you a little bit of a different perspective on how you look at people. Because that's what I feel has happened. Yeah, it's just like some of them are just sticking in my mind right now, that the older man and the woman against the fence, for example, their eyes,
Mm.
there's just magic when people are in the flow and they feel that
Mm-hmm.
they're loved and feel that they're belonged. And I think that you capture that really well. So
Thank
that's
you.
awesome. And
Yeah,
for me, I am
for you.
Janine McJanet. That's who I am. And I am a coach. I'm a well-being coach. And I've got a Facebook group called the Soul Sister Lounge. So I'd love to invite anyone there.
Yes.
That,
Go.
yeah, it's about connection.
Yeah.
It's about inspiration, empowerment. I've also done a lot of work on people pleasing in the last few weeks. And I've held a webinar. So if there's anybody who's interested in catching a replay on that, just message me through that and I can get you hooked up to have a look at that. Yeah, I'm moving forward now into this life, and I've got some speaking gigs coming up in Calgary in October, and maybe one down your way in early October,
Yes.
talking about this shit that matters, this stuff that matters, and how to be real and how to live our lives joyfully. So that's what I'm about right now. Yeah. And I am so grateful and honored to have had you on this call. You did awesome.
Oh,
You did. And
yay!
yoo-hoo!
I did it.
You did great. And thank you for everybody. We're going to come back and we're going to look at your comments. And if you've got any questions, just throw them in. And Carlene and I can get back to you. And yeah, I'm going to go and see my daughter now jump in a horse race. She's running around. So have a
Yes.
fantastic Saturday wherever you are in this world. And thanks for coming on in. And we will be in touch, Carlene. Thanks again.
Yes.
Oh, one question. I almost forgot.
Yeah.
What makes your soul sparkle?
What makes my soul sparkle? Art, photography, connection, people.
Beautiful.
The connection with people. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, you keep sparkling, baby, and we will catch
Yeah,
you.
too.
We'll catch you soon. Bye, everybody. Thanks for
Okay.
coming on.
Bye.
Bye-bye.